Hello, my name is Richard Heffernan. I'm a Reader in Government at the Open University in the United Kingdom, and I studied the British Prime Minister, amongst other things. The British Prime Minister is the British chief diplomat, the head of the government, the principal politician of the United Kingdom. What is it that makes the Prime Minister? Well, the Prime Minister is the head of the government. He or she is not the head of state. And they're the head of the government because they lead a parliamentary majority in the House of Commons, either by leading a single-party government, a minority government which lacks a majority, or a coalition of one or two or more parties that together command a majority. The thing about the Prime Minister is that he or she has three qualifications to be Prime Minister. And the only person in the universe who has those three qualifications become Prime Minister. It's Mrs May, it's Mr Cameron, it's Mr Brown or Mr Blair. Before that, John Major and Margaret Thatcher. Those three qualifications are, firstly, that they are a Member of Parliament. There are only 650 members of the House of Commons elected to serve in the House of Commons, and so 650 people by convention qualify to be Prime Minister. The second qualification the incumbent has is that they lead a party. There are presently 9 or 8 parties in the House of Commons. There are two large parties, the Conservative Party and the Labour Party. The Conservative Party has been led by Theresa May since July 2016. Before that, the Conservative Party was led by David Cameron, and before that, the Labour Prime Minister, Mr Brown and Mr Blair, led the Labour Party between, in the case of Mr Blair, 1994 and 2007, and Mr Brown, 2007 to 2010. So being a party leader is the second qualification. Presently there are 8, as I say, party leaders in the House of Commons, and all of those have the second qualification to become Prime Minister. The third qualification to be Prime Minister is to be the leader of a party which by itself has a majority in the House of Commons, a single party government, or is a minority government in a hung parliament where no party has a majority, and where a government can form an agreement with a second party, and that's Mrs May after 2017, when the Tories lost the majority at that election, the largest party, and they formed a supply and support agreement with the Democratic Unionist Party, the Northern Ireland Unionists, which gives them at present a majority of 17 over all other parties in the House of Commons combined. So those three qualifications make the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is not directly elected. You and I don't cast a vote for him or her unless we live in the Maidenhead constituency at the last election when we voted for Mrs May to become the Member of Parliament for Maidenhead. First qualification, making her Prime Minister. Following that, she was the party leader, having become it the year previously, having first been elected to Parliament in 1997, and then she is the leader of a party which can command a majority, presently 17, by having a supply and support agreement with the Democratic Unionists. So nobody else has those qualifications, and she, in the case of Mrs May, will remain Prime Minister for so long, but only for so long, as they retain those three qualifications, and so they serve as a parliamentary creature. It is the Parliament that is returned in the House of Commons at the election, that determines who becomes Prime Minister, and therefore gives them the platform from which they govern the country as part of a collective government.